We continue now with our Spotlight series with J. Daniel Pluff. The series highlights businesses and people doing something special in our area. Central New York has long been a giving community, with many residents offering their time, talent, or treasures to various needs and causes. One Syracuse man saw a great need in his hometown neighborhood following years of decline since he last walked those streets. Chedy Hampson grew up in Syracuse's South Side, an area lacking many amenities but providing enough activities to offer him encouragement. While active in baseball, he also had an affinity for online gaming, an interest which eventually led to his establishing an online marketing company. That company, TCG Player, saw tremendous growth over the years. So much so, it was acquired by eBay for hundreds of millions of dollars. Proceeds from the buyout were distributed to employees and to Chedy, but he wasn't about to just cash in and retire. He's now on a mission to revitalize his old neighborhood and make it better for generations to come. R.J. Daniel Pluff joined Chedy at Ona Java, a new neighborhood coffee house and a sign of early progress.
So beyond the sale and beyond the company, and I know this is a little cliche to say, well, maybe you went back to your roots, so to speak, but you kind of did.
Yes.
You went back to the South Side, took a look at the neighborhood. I'm guessing you didn't like what you saw.
Correct. From a business concept, to me, it had similar experiences to a marketplace. When I think about economic development, that there was just parts of that community that were missing from when I was a youth. Mm-hmm. And it was just a concept of what would happen if those pieces could be brought back together. And the timing of my thought process and the sale coincided with a lot of great activity happening in the city of Syracuse. Mm-hmm. So it was a feeling that I wasn't going to be doing something that felt like it wouldn't have a long lasting impact. It felt like everything around us is in a positive momentum.
So you decided you wanted to do something.
Yeah.
You start a foundation. I mean, how does one go about starting a foundation?
I didn't know.
Yeah, okay. Well, you do now.
I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing I did is I thought the same thing from business. What's a great team? So I went and recruited an incredible board of people that have been involved in nonprofits and government, and I was thankful they all said yes.
So how is this foundation funded, though? Is this all personal money? Are other people making contributions? Where's the money coming from, essentially?
Yeah, the primary funding source came from myself. Mm-hmm. I have had other sources that have started to come in, and lots of interest that is being expressed. I think the biggest eye-opener to me was I thought it was something I would primarily be doing, but the interest from outside, other for-profit companies, realizing what the government at the state and federal level can provide has really opened my eyes. And also realizing that even with my capital, it doesn't make the difference that I want to make, and it's so much bigger.
Chedy, what do you think, though, not that there was any single issue, but what do you think happened? What would cause the South Side and other parts of the city to maybe go into some decline?
Yeah, I mean, it really does go back to I-81. I mean, it goes back that far. It was the moment that went up, property values of homes right next to I-81 dropped, plummeted, and became something you could never invest in.
Can you really pinpoint it to that time?
I can, because you can look at it and see it spread block by block over the years, and it took 30 to 40 years before somebody's roof needed to be replaced. And the question of that homeowner would be like, why would you spend money to fix your roof when your home value is dropped by half?
Sure. We're coming up to the point now where funds will start to get distributed. So who decides? Like, how do you make a decision on where to go with the funds? Do people come to you with requests, like grant requests? Is that how this is going to work?
I mean, not in that way. What we're really doing is taking feedback from the neighbors in the community to understand where the problems lie. Obviously, housing is a huge one. not just from a lack of housing, but just the state of the housing. It doesn't make you proud to see boarded up windows or to see just completely empty lots. So like they want to see more life and more energy. And then we're trying to figure out, when we prioritize those problems, which organizations, which federal or state funding is out there, and how do we sort of tackle those problems?
I hear you. So that's I guess that's where we're headed. So how do we prioritize? I mean, you talked about housing needs. What else is needed in the South Side?
After school activities,
right.
Daycare, and then I think the connector between all of it is transportation. How would you get to work at Micron in a speedy fashion? How would your boy or girl or boy and girl get to after school activities that are outside the neighborhood?
Is it geared more towards then the younger population, the youth of the area? Is that what you're targeting?
It's targeted at the single parent who's raising kids. It is targeted at the kids, but I think it's multi-generational in nature. So we're thinking, what would it take for somebody to grow up in that neighborhood and have a successful career 20 to 30 years from now?
I'm not hearing in what you're prioritizing, I'm not hearing anything about education though. Is that going to be a key element as well? From my side, it's not a key element of our organization. It's about how to make sure that they're motivated and energized outside of the educational system. When school ends at 3:30 and the parent is out working their second or third job, what's that bridge to make sure that the kids have another pathway to continue learning outside of the school, but also that the parents have a moment to think about, okay, what's my next career advancement going to be? Which meeting can I go to? You didn't graduate college.
I didn't. I tried.
Well,
times.
try or but then what does that say? Is it so necessary today to have a college degree, you think?
I don't think it's necessary. I think the classes I took were still extremely relevant. There was economics classes in there, lots of calculus classes that I needed.
Calculus?
Yes.
Okay.
For programming.
Okay.
Yes.
Not my favorite. But I mean, that has to be an element. You need to spark something there, don't you think?
Yes, you need to know that if you are passionate about something, that you could be successful at it if you try hard enough. I think that's where you need the examples, the role models to be present.
Yeah. Chedy, you've mentioned you grew up here, you're part of the community. What does community mean to you specifically? Yeah,
I think it's really, community is about multiple different interests, being able to connect and collaborate with each other, I think in a way that's beneficial to all of them. For example, the business districts, barbers, grocery stores, people that want to build businesses, people that want to raise families, from the kids themselves, they want to be entertained, they want to know that there's activities for them. All of that happening in a very productive way that's engaging for all of the different constituents.
Without so much borders. One community bleeds right into the next.
Absolutely. It does, but it's all connective and empowering, and I think there's some of that has been missing, or some of those elements are gone. There's no longer a business district that's in that community any longer, and so they have to leave and go to another area, and then that's where we bump into the issues.
Sure. Now, no disrespect here intended at all, but you know and I know that you can't just throw money at a problem and think it's going to be right and think it's going to be fixed. So how are we going to measure results here? How do you know what you're doing is having an impact?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different ways. Still in development of what the right survey and data to do is, but how proud are you to live in this community would be a great metric. That's from the parents' standpoint point of view. Like, do they feel like this is a place they can raise their kids? And that will be a result of understanding. Is the transportation there? Is the after-school activities there? Do they feel like their kids are successful? They're going to school? All of that will be built up over time, of course, but I do think there's some measurables that are in there.
We're a little tight on time, but I have to kind of just throw this at you out of the blue. I've just met you recently. You strike me as an awfully nice guy. I hope you'll forgive me for what is a very shallow question, but this is a big endeavor you're trying to take on. This is like, I'm going to change the world kind of a thing, right? It's a lot of work. Mm-hmm. Why not take the money and run? Why not buy yourself an island and grow coconuts? I mean, wouldn't that be the thing to do?
It would be very boring. I think this is a tremendously fun problem to think about. It's complicated. It's very similar to a board game. So it's not like I'm getting very far from my roots. This is how do you
grew up here.
bring these pieces
You
of the
grew up
puzzle
here.
together and solve it? Yeah, there's a connection to it, but it's also a very interesting problem to work
So
with.
tell me then, before we end, tell me about long-term goals. I mean, I'm sure, I'm not being, of course you've thought about it, but what's the end goal here? What do you see happening in the next 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I think we're thinking beyond my lifetime, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I think it really is seeing.
Wouldn't that be nice though? Isn't that a nice thought?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think how much money can we recruit to the area is certainly a metric of, are we telling a bigger story? It's not just small investments, it's taking all the different organizations and presenting them in a bigger light to make sure that people can see, like politicians, if you will, they want to make big bets. So we want to show them there's big bets and big opportunity to show improvement on the south side. But as little as that, I think it's just seeing the level of activity happen, proud parents, family members being raised here, the houses starting to look like we remember them looking.
To your point, I mean, even if part of this works, I mean, this is a generational thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it could, theoretically, in practicality, it will outlive you.
Yes, absolutely will outlive me, no question.